I have two sets of brand new irons in my hands here. The P770's or P7CB's. Maybe you should be playing the P770's. Maybe you should be playing the P7CB's. Or maybe you should be playing both. In this video, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna explain everything you need to know about playing these irons. Do you transition at the longs? Do you play the shorts? Do you play the whole bag of each? Are you the type of player that needs it? Am I talking to you? Let's check it out on Trottie Golf right now. This one could be searched for a long time, and it's about combo sets, and it's about how you combo a set. See it all the time on the tour, whether it's just banging in a long iron and you've got Nelly Corda so she can get a peak height out of that long iron, or you're looking at Rory when it comes to his brand new P7CB and just getting the flight he wants on that as he goes into a bladed iron, and why does he do it? Or as you work through the set, do you just go full set of P7CB's? And we're looking at someone like Colin Morikawa for that. What conversations have I had over time with players to make this choice? So where do we start when it comes to comboing a set of golf clubs? Yes, here the range. Yes, we're gonna look at ball flight, but this is the first place. I have a video all about what golf ball you should play. I cannot tell you how crucial it is when it comes to this. There is a difference in peak height between these two irons, in my opinion, but it can be overcome. This is what I'd do on a huge tour truck if I had access to overcome that. But the golf ball is where you start. And each time I come up to test these irons, I now stand there with the TP5 and the TP5X, which for my speed, I can handle both golf balls. But as I always say, if I grab my 7-iron and I move my full swing monitor to the 7-iron, we're hitting out towards the blue flags there. I've got the red number, which is the TP5X. We're going to see a ball flight that comes out, and this is crucial for my speed. If your speed is a little different, or if your feel overrules it, I'm okay with that, but I want to launch it at half of the loft on the blade, and I'd like to spin it around 7,000 I like. So let's just lay a little 7-iron down. You've got to be honest with yourself. If you draw it, it'll spin less. If you fade it, it'll spin more. Not bad. Great example of the irons. This first 7-iron of the morning, it wasn't pured, but it's given me a good yardage out of it. Let's go again until I'm comfortable with a number. Giving me good spin, but let's go again. Better example, not as heavy through the turf, better strike, good club speed, 91.5 for me. Again, I know the numbers. Spin rate identical. Now they're both ripping up at 8,000 spin. That seems a little high, so I'm going to continue with the TP5X golf ball. But anytime I'm getting a number like that with the 8,000 spin, pretty good. I can certainly find it easy to take spin off. 7,600, so we're building the picture. 8,000, 8,000. I think I had a 7.5, 7.6. So this is all the spin rate numbers. Good golf shot there. Down in a similar area with the grouping, good speed, 7,700, apex 96. That is an important number. Let's grab the 7-iron in the CB. After you've hit the 770, much smaller, much more sleek. So if 7-iron is going to be where I'm going to change, I need to be comfortable that I can hit the center consistently with the 7-iron. What is a good apex number? That's the next question you should be asking. Big Wave Dave over at KBS Cat. Good way to look at this. Whatever your speed is, you then want to take your apex for your club speed. So that club speed number, 91.7 being consistent, apex 93, spin rate a little down on that, but yardage the same. The differences come, and you can feel it, maybe hear it. Yes, I'm starting to move and swing it a bit better, but through the turf. This P7CB just goes through the turf a little easier than the 770. I mean, that is lovely. 92 apex. So it's a fraction lower, distances have been similar. But that for me would be the first area in those 7-irons I would think about, okay, should I be comboing there? Then when it comes to your testing, you need to personally ask yourself the question on the 6. Is the 6 the place? Now, working with Tom Watson when he was going from Adams to TaylorMade, he would say that the 6-iron is the pivot point of the set. So that's always where you've got to look. Justin Rose, big combo set guy. 6 and 7-iron is where you've got to look. As you put these two down, I think, based on testing the initial clubs at altitude and having slight concerns about, am I able to spin this enough? I think based on what I'm looking at here back at sea level, I think the 7-iron could be where I'd go, purely because I played a hole last week that was about 195 on the yardage for a 6-iron, didn't hit it great, and you've seen already, after those 4 or 5 shots I hit with the P770, if you don't strike it great, it still gives you the yardage. So combo set wise, that's where I'd look. Now why in a long iron, I've got a 4 here, why are guys using the 4-iron, or girls if we look at Nelly as well, why are we going for 4-iron? This one's pretty easy. If you go behind the golf ball, breeze is turning up, but I mean, it's just a bigger golf club. You can actually start to see some of the tech behind, which is pretty rare, but you can. But there's a lot of mass there. I mean, I'm not even gonna hit the other one for the simple reason, if you are running a golf hole that is 200 yards out, so that's a carry 198, normalized 215, apex, remember my speed now is 95.6, and my apex is 90 out of a 4-iron. I'll give you the example for the video purposes, but if I grab the 4 in the P7CB, we could stand here for probably 7 or 8 Tour Truck Tuesdays, and I might not actually hit one as pure and as high as that. Tiger Woods, Colin Morikawa have ran the best stats at approach play. They'll always like to spin it, number on the bottom of the club, plus 500. But just putting the P7CB behind the golf ball, much smaller. I don't need it to cut through the turf as easy as the other one, because I'm not, if I get that result, I'm over the moon, basically. All right, let's see how this goes. Bit of heat. Gonna be fine if you're into breeze. Gonna be fine if you can run it up. I mean, that's gone the same yardage total for sure. Spun 4,300, great. 219 total, normalized, yeah, 200 carry, so a little less. But the bottom line is it's just a little tougher to use. So you got to be honest with yourself as a player, which is absolutely something where I need to be. That goes long iron 770, tick, win, you're in. 4, 5, 6, and 7 for me. 6 probably 770. That's the decision point. But I'm going to start after today at that 7-iron being the P7CB. Now let's get into wedges. Let's get into the rough, and let's talk a little bit about the sole design on the P7CB and why with the pitching wedge, the 9, the 8, and 7. Let's work more on why we might play that club, because the rough is going to make a difference. Here, critical, the scoring areas. I've got the scoring clubs in my hand right now. When it comes to the forged feel and the forged construction of the P770, this club now has so much more control out of the rough. The flighted CG being higher in the short irons means that you can actually launch the 8-iron much lower and control the ball flight. Great positive, great plus for the development of these irons. But there comes a point, much as hitting the ball into the breeze subconsciously, where if you take a scoring iron, and the players out there listening to this will know they are, and you sit the P7CB behind that ball on that flyer lie, trust comes into the equation, and you potentially will trust more the yardage you're going to get out of this. Now, I've tested quite extensively from the rough, and I've seen nothing jump on me. Apex height and spin rate is a crucial thing. I need to test here when it comes to my combo set if I'm not sure where I'm going to transition. The other thing that often works, if you think about us as players, you will be looking to go flag hunting if you're a good player when it comes to 7-iron, maybe even 6 if you're elite and down. All of a sudden, the result of that we had with the 4-iron, where we hit it on the green at 210, 220, we know proximity to the hole with the best players in the world, that's a good result. But these are now your scoring irons. So get a feel for how it cuts through the turf and get an idea on flight and height and yardage. I'm trying to give myself a flyer lie, which would just be sitting up a little bit. Great golf shot, and we'll study that one. Next to the flag, this is a good sign, right? And that's what I'm talking about with the new design of the P770. Threw that well, but let's study ourselves. 7,200 spin out of the rough on an 8-iron, great. 96 on the apex is what's showing up for me with a 90-mile-an-hour club speed. So it's actually gone quite high, so we can tell we got some flyer out of that. And then it's carried 153 into breeze with an 8-iron. But those numbers are a fair reflection. Now let's put it up directly and see if I can hit it as good with the P7CB. Same golf ball. And you need to do this a few times. You can't just bowl in one club, but that was a good start point. 8-iron in. It's good. I mean, that's flown further, if anything. 7,500, so 7,547 on the spin rate, 19.7 on the launch, and then 145 carry. So that's actually gone a bit further. And just looking back, because I'm looking at that thinking, is that the same swing? And actually 99 on the apex. So the myth of sometimes the stigma that when you take a forged iron that's a 770, that you can get flyers with it. Well, it's actually had more control than the 8-iron in the P7CB on that one shot. But what I will say is it's how it interacts with the rough, and it's how you feel, the subconscious of how you feel as a player. I come back to it all the time. Be the CEO of your own golf game. If you're finding that in the pitching wedge or any of these clubs, you're getting something that doesn't feel comfortable, well, that's shouting out to you. And we've got a video that we've made about wedges and which ones should you play. But it's shouting out to you that the smaller sole could work, the peripheral weighting, the feel of this over this. If a pitching wedge is, I need to score with that, pitching wedge is where you need to change. But you must study the loft on this and compare it to the rest of the set. Take all your clubs and loft and line match, live on that apex number and live on that spin rate number, and keep into consideration these golf balls. I don't need to hit any more as the example here. You've got all the points that you have to decide on. You know what you've got to look for. I think all that's left is that I cruise into the kingdom now, check the lofts on that 7, 8, 9 and wedge, check the lies of where they want to be, because I think the next week or two for me is going to be about testing on the golf course, different winds, different scoring opportunities. Heck, if I get to play at altitude again, it's another great example. But I think the biggest call out that we said at the top, if you do go and play in different air types because it's warm and you're in the desert or because you're in the mountains of the Colorado area, TP5 golf ball is a very easy fix to put in there if you're a TP5X player. Vegas, where it runs, it's firm, anywhere out there where you get that desert heat, get something with more spin, give you more control, then flip back to the TP5X if that's the ball you use. If you like what you're seeing, dive down. Obviously, any comments below. This will be a video that will be very well searched and looked at, and these will be golf clubs that someone out there can improve from. The best players in the world are comboing these irons. They're the questions you've got to be asking yourself if you need to be too.